if a lion goes up a cow trail or through a bedding ground or through the fire burn or whatever, do you think that lion does that on purpose?
No, I don't really. I think it's just circumstance.
Yeah.
I think it just happened to happen. Now, I'm not saying, now, I've seen some lions do some awful smart, seemingly smart things.
Usually when you're running them though.
Yes.
When they know you're in pursuit.
And they'll get, a lot of times, a dog-wise lion that's been trailed a lot and run a lot in this country, sometimes they'll start, when they hear those dogs coming a ridge over like a half a mile, they'll pull out at a trot. And a lion can trot all day long, and boy, you're not gonna catch that sucker. It's gonna get dark on you before you do that. They can just trot. But if you make them panic and they run, they can't run very far because they're short-winded, and you'll probably get them caught. But those lions that'll pull out, not only will they pull out, but then they get over a ridge and they don't hear those dogs coming, they might come right back on their tracks and get on top of the ridge again and listen. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they hear them still coming, so they'll take off another way. I mean, just by chance, but they getting out of there. Well, the dogs trail over the ridge and out to that dead end where that lion turns around and come back. And man, is that hard for dogs to figure out.
And we have to start looking.
Oh, you've got to help.
If we find a track coming back, then we know that's what they did. Then we got to find the point they turned.
And you think, well, that lion did that on purpose. Well, it did, but it wasn't really trying to throw your dogs off. It was coming back to see if he'd hear those dogs coming and then take off, to see if it was still being followed. And some of the things the lion does seemingly are really smart when other times they're just, it's survival for them, of course. And I don't think they think like we do, like I'm gonna go out here and put a backtrack in here and go off another direction, where a convict or something laying a trail for a dog might do that and get away with it if you know something about dog. But those lions will do that. Now I've seen lions running down a canyon, the dog's within 100 yards of them on that scent channel, and that lion will know that he's getting in trouble and getting tired. He'll jump out of this bank and squat behind the bush and let every dog run by.
Because the scent channel's floating.
Yeah, and then you get up and look. Now I've seen this because I've been on the bluff above and watching this happen. And I've seen them look around and then they'll go right back in the creek and come right back up the canyon, right to the bluff house here.
Yeah.
Now this happened and I'm not saying he wasn't using his head. He was getting tired and he knew he was in trouble and he figured he'd get back to the bluff. Well, those dogs go down there and they hit a dead end of the scent channel. And then they've got to figure out what happened. Boy, it takes a smart dog to come back up there the way they just ran in because they think they're backtracking. And
Now and then,
it's an education.
one of our real old dogs by then is very tired. And they're coming along on the
Way
track,
behind.
400 or 500 yards, and they run right into that line
Yeah,
and
no,
they
that's
treat them.
how-
And we've seen that happen because he'll be running, or with that old dog afoot. See, he's that far behind the lead dogs, but he can stay with the old dog. And then here comes the lion and the old dog runs into it and trees it. Or at least scares it out of the creek enough to get a new track so it's not on its old tracks, and then Dad can call the other dogs up. And we've had them in bluffs where we knew, I'll tell Dad, Crackle's half a mile behind you, Dad, and then I'll say, Dad, she must have jumped the lion. Well, the lion that particular day went up through the bluffs and then did that deal and went right back down through all the dogs because it was rough and they were all scattered out trying to find the track. Went right through where they were and ran right into Crackle. And then she bait him on a bluff because then he stopped.
Yeah.
Once in a while you get lucky.
Yeah. Yep.
In the book that Dub Evans wrote, Ranch Hounds,
Yep.
he published, or he quoted a letter from the Lee brothers, and Dub Evans also said that he had seen the same thing. And I found this very, very hard to believe, but it's what you're saying. And in that letter, they were saying that once they got that line up and running real good, and the dogs were starting to get a little closer to it, that line would run under a big pine tree and go about 100 yards, turn around, come back, and make a high jump onto that tree and let the dogs run under it. And they swore that. And I mean, have you ever seen that? Or
I don't. Yeah, I haven't seen the lion do that, but I've seen where that is bound to have happened, because the dogs will go by and I'll be coming along there afoot and either see the lion or what are already in the tree, and those dogs will be trailing way past it. And I'll think, well, those dumb son of a gun, you know, and I go, "No," but that's, evidently that is what's happened, and I think a lion does that, not that, he might be picking the biggest, highest tree he can find just to get away from those dogs, and when he runs by it, he says, man, I've goosed up, and he might go back and make that jump. Now, when they make that jump, it's a pine tree, a lot of times doesn't have a limb until you get up there 15 or 20 feet, so they've got it, and I would think they would make a big jump just to,
Especially on a
Just-
steep mountain,
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
they can get
especially-
into
yeah.
it from the
and I
upper
don't know
side.
if they would do that as far as trying to throw your dogs off, but they do it. I mean, and so I wouldn't doubt them a bit, and they might be absolutely right, they might be just, you know,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't doubt, I'm sure they've seen that happen, and
Yeah.
they did a lot of hunting in a lot of timber country. We don't have the advantage of big timber here as they would in a lot of those areas.